Hey everyone, so in today's video, what I want to do is I want to show you guys how to build a resume slash portfolio website with AI tools. Now, for example, you can look at directories like the Framer Marketplace and look for resume websites, and you're going to find a cool, a collection of nice free templates, paid ones as well. They each have their unique little style. This one is actually quite simple. It's a free template to use. You can, adjust, you can, replace your own image over here. You can replace your name. You can add your template, or you can add your CV for recruiters to download it. You can add your socials. You can add some of your work over here. Like this Brandify is like basically like a portfolio piece. And if you're not like a web designer or web developer or something like that, and you don't want to show your portfolio like this, you can explain. You can convert this into like some type of timeline, right? Like have something like this as like a timeline view, connect it like with this, for example. Oh, in San Francisco, I worked at digital innovations agency, and you can click on this and read more, right? So a lot of these templates that I see on Framer are more for, for designers and stuff like that, for people that have been building digital products, and it's looking great, right? You even have like a news section over here. You have a context section. It's looking fantastic. It's just you have that learning curve inside of Framer. You might not know a lot about Framer. You might open it up and see a lot of these different tools on the sides and not really want to have to learn that. So today what I want to do is I want to show you how you can build something like this with just pure prompting and with the help of AI. And by the way, if you don't know me, my name is Lucas. And apart from running this YouTube channel, I also have a Discord community. You guys are free to join. We meet up every single weekday, and we basically talk about our struggles, our challenges, about different tools. We do different design critiques. We talk about different video ideas that I can post in the future. So if you guys are interested in that, please feel free to join. The link is down in the description below. All right, and there is a certain structure that we have to kind of follow. I mean, very straightforward. Inspiration, we gather inspiration as to what type of design we want. Then we create an initial structure of our design. Then we create, and this initial structure, for example, consists of like a wireframe, right? The placement of the different layers of our page, right? We know that in the first part, we're going to have like a hero section, what the users are going to see in the first view. But what is that going to consist of? Two pieces of text, one piece of text, two buttons, one button. Where is the button going to take you? Is it going to, do you have to download something? Are you going to take you to a specific section of my website? So we have to kind of define that here in this initial structure. Then once we have that initial structure, we can go ahead and start the design, right? And then we're going to end up with a final design, right? We're going to end up with a final design, which has all of our, colors, font that we like, information about ourselves, and it's kind of ready to deploy, which is our last step. Deployment, meaning we're going to bring it into Cursor, and we're going to actually make it, be able to have it connected to like a specific domain if we wanted to. Because at the end of the day, you want to, apply to jobs. You want to send this to certain people to kind of, for them to understand your history, your background. So you want to have this kind of like as a link. Anyways, like I showed you before, Framer is a great way to, the Framer Marketplace, framer.com/marketplace/templates. I'll have it down in the description below, is a great place to look for inspirational websites. I'm a very big fan of Framer sites. They're very nice. Again, this video is about creating an AI design, but Framer provides really nice designs. But really the beauty about designing with AI is that you can find different examples from free templates or from paid templates that you like, and you can combine these styles, right? So let's say that I do like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a nice screenshot of this, right? Keep it like this, maybe over here to over here. And then I'm just going to bring this into Excalidraw, right? Just drag it in here. And I'm going to do the same thing for other types of sites that I find. So I'm just going to go back and look for other types of examples. Let's say that you find some specific type of section that you like for example, this one's software stack. We can kind of take a screenshot of that, bring that into like our little mood board area over here. And apart from Framer, you can look at stuff like As Eternity UI, which is basically like a UI component library. You can look at different types of things that they have here. I found like this bento grid. This might be interesting. I'm just going to zoom out a bit and take a screenshot of this. So it would be nice to have like a type of bento grid view of my projects, for example. All right, and we've basically built out a little pattern here. Everything seems to be dark mode. So I'm kind of a big dark mode fan, I guess. And we have our intro over here. So this is like the intro section. Then we have about me. Then we have some of our project, which is like this bento grid. Then we have this experience little tab over here with all of our past experiences, past professional experiences. And then we have our software stack. So I think this is a good like little, inspiration tab over here, or inspiration section or column that we just created. And now what we want to do is we want to create our initial structure. So what is that going to consist of? How are we going to start with that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open MagicPath. And basically what MagicPath is, it's a, it's a AI design software. It has an infinite canvas, right? This is like the infinite canvas. You can move around. You can double click to add a new component or frame. That's what it's called, component, inside of MagicPath. Move it around like this. And then you can select it, open this Ask MagicPath button over here, and then you can start, asking MagicPath to build something in specific, or you can you can give it a prompt and then ask MagicPath, like, what do you think about this idea? Do you think we can add extra pages or we can add extra sections? So I can say, I want to build a resume website with a hero section, project overview section in a bento grid, experience section as a timeline view, software stack section, and a context section and a footer. So make it dark mode and minimalistic. Do you understand, right? So we're just going to add that question at the end. And before we submit, we can actually select a specific design system, right? We have these default, pre-built public design systems that MagicPath already offers us, like OpenAI, Claude, Brutalism, Airbnb, etc. Or you can import a specific design system. I'm going to show you how to do that right now in a sec. I'm just gonna, not select anything. All right, and we basically get this, very generic design. We have our nav bar, we have our hero section with this little graphic on the right side. We have view my work, so that's like the main call to action. Again, we gave it a very, vague prompt. So we get, a very simple design, right? So hero section, featured projects, we don't have anything yet, professional experience, technology stack, and get in touch. Okay, perfect. So this is a great, thing to start off with. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into Excalidraw, and I'm going to scroll up to this section, and I'm going to start taking screenshots of this, and going back into MagicPath. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure I'm going to say design the hero section to have the same layout and design as the attached image. All right, and look at that. We're starting to get it more like our actual design. So that's pretty cool. Now, again, there are a few things that we need to fix. Like this has to go kind of like on the right side. We're going to have to do that. Don't worry about it. We're going to do it eventually. But it's starting to look really nice. And we're basically going to go back into Excalidraw and do the same thing for this section. This one is going to be a little bit more difficult because it's kind of like a grid, but at the same time, it's not a grid. And we also have this copy prompt. So I'm just going to copy that also from Eternity UI, go into MagicPath and say, let's add this section underneath the featured or underneath the description text, or how can we call this? Let's add this section underneath the featured project's title, right? Shift enter and paste this prompt, and we have our prompt over here. So let's just go ahead and click on submit. So basically what we can do is we can actually start off with a grid like this, and we can say, okay, it has 6 columns. Let's make it 3 columns and 2 rows. All right, and now we get our 3 columns and 2 rows, which is great. And we can go back into Excalidraw and again take another screenshot and make sure that this AI basically creates or makes, well, what we can do is we don't even have to take a screenshot. We can go back here. It's pretty much very similar to what we have here, just a little bit of a different type of design. We have this on the side, And what we can do is we can edit this component, we can get this, and we can erase this if we wanted to, right? As you can see, we can erase that. We can select this little div over here and also delete that. And then we can click on save. For the tech stack, I'm just going to take another screenshot and we're going to select this, drag in that screenshot over here, paste that. All right, and we added this software stack section. We don't really need this technology stack layer over here. What we can do is we can just delete this component and we can maybe adjust the spacing up here. It looks a little bit too large. So this is another great thing from this tool called MagicPath, right? We can get this, delete the element. We can also adjust the spacing over here. Once we're happy with that, we can click on save. Actually, before we click on save, we can adjust this to be 20 as well. Now we can click on save. All right, and we didn't really brainstorm for this context section over here, or for the footer, but let's just leave it for now. I really like how this looks like. You know, we have our tech stack over here. We have our little, experience place over here. We have this section, which, we have to kind of change it a little bit. I don't really like the purple everywhere. I would prefer this to be somewhat like black. So I really like I'm a big fan of the black and white, so to say. We do have to fix this area, so we can do that right now. Let's just click on this pen tool and maybe adjust some of these settings. So we can, for example, adjust the margin over here to be something like 80 or maybe 120. That looks pretty good. Now we have this little div over here. We want it to be on the right side of this div. And we can say something like align this div to the very right side of its parent div. Let's see if something like that works. Now that's looking nice, right? We have our get template, download CSV. We have our name over here, inspired by that design that we saw from the Figma marketplace. And if I were to just collapse the page like this, you can see that it's also, mobile friendly, which is great. It has this nice max width. So if you have a very large or very, wide screen, it's not gonna be too ugly. It's gonna stay nice and fit in the middle, as you can see. Now, next thing that I want to do is just, make sure that we remove this purple from everywhere and we make it white. Let's make it white. So I'm going to ask MagicPath, I'm going to select the main frame, the main component, which is this one. And let's say globally, let's replace the purple with white. Okay, let's click on submit. All right, and as simple as that, with just one prompt globally, let's replace the purple with white. We get our white mode looking like this, right? And it even changes the colors over here. As you can see, we get like these, this white hover color, which also looks nice. It did add a specific section, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete this section by just selecting delete over here and clicking on save. So now we have a layout that we like. I actually wanna see what happens if I click on one of these. Okay, so now we have a layout that we like. Now what I want to do is I want to actually replace some of these assets and this information with my information, right? With my name, with my image. So with name and, with text and stuff, that's kind of like the easiest thing to do. You can just click on edit component, click on this, and over here, write my name. Say like a YouTuber. I am in Miami, FL. Here I can put my email, and whenever you do that, don't forget to click on save. Let's just finish out these things. Let's just click on save. And for an image, I can go into something like LinkedIn and copy the image address. I can actually click on this and then copy the image address, go back into MagicPath, click on this image, and we have this image source. I'm just gonna replace that and enter the image URL, which is this. Click on this little button and boom, there I am. And for example, for these things, since it has a, hover animation, you want to select this and you want to replace the image with the AI, right? So I'm going to click on edit with AI, and a good place to kind of build out images, like custom images to your own style, is something like Figma, right? So in Figma, I make my thumbnails in Figma. I can basically just drag in like different screens and text and my images. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to export this as a name, and then I'm going to go into the browser and search for image URL generator. Actually, there's one called imgur.com. Yeah, this one. So I'm just going to use this one. I'm going to choose my photo, which is this one, open it, and it's going to generate a link for me. So copy image address. I'm going to just paste it over here just to kind of confirm, boom. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back into not Excalidraw, into MagicPath, and say replace the project image to this one, or to this, right? Paste that, click on generate, and you can see that my project has now been added, right? So I have this nice little project, and we can remove this text. We can adjust the gradient. So we can, for example, get this and say add a black gradient under the text. We can see that the gradient has been applied to this. Actually, it's been applied to not only the text, but also the hover state. And I kind of like it. It gives like this silver aspect to it. But what you guys have to keep in mind is that once you start uploading your images, you have to either you delete this text, or you put the text on the hover state, or you make the hover state dark. So as you can see, we have like this linear gradient now. And what we want to do is we actually don't want it to be a gradient. We can make it actually dark. We can kind of see how this all looks like. This actually looks pretty good. Just we need to fix the icons to make them white. But anyways, once you start adding these different things, and once you start editing this to your own style, you eventually like this. Eventually, for example, these things, you can replace the logo with the actual logo from Figma or from Webflow, from whatever it is. I can search for like Framer logo, get this, copy image address, and then go in here. And what I can do is I can say, all right, now once we're done with this, best thing to do here is just to go ahead and open this, not open it in a new tab. What we want to do is we want to open it in Cursor. Go ahead and do this, copy this full command. We're going to open our terminal, paste this in here. We're going to name this like résumé project. Click on enter. Then we're going to click enter on Cursor, and we have our project here. So what we can do is we can just go here and write yarn dev, click on enter, and we're just gonna command click this, and we get our project, right? We can scroll down here, we see everything looking good. And now in Cursor, what we can do is we can, select certain things. Like let's say we can link our LinkedIn profile to this LinkedIn button. So I can go ahead and, for example, just copy this link and tell Cursor, let's link my LinkedIn URL to the LinkedIn button in the hero section. Then I'm gonna go like this, paste in the URL, submit that, and then basically we get here a preview, and we can see that it removed this https linkedin.com, which just takes us to LinkedIn, to my URL, right? So we can go ahead and click on accept, and over here this basically loads in real time. We can click on this and it takes me to my LinkedIn profile. And you can basically do this with all of the different links inside of your resume template. Now, in order to actually, add a domain to this, right now it's localhost 5173. We want it to have its own domain, right? Like lucasmarjorie.com or whatever it is. Now, what we can do is we can ask GitHub to push this into our GitHub account, or we can ask Cursor to push this into our GitHub account. And it's going to help us push the changes to my GitHub account. First, let me check if this is already a Git repository and see the current status. We don't have a Git repository. So great, I can see the report. Okay, now it says great, I can see the repository is already initialized, and we have changes to this. So let's run this again. And now it's asking us to do something. So create a new repository in GitHub, and then add the remote repository URL, push the changes. Could you please go to GitHub and create a new repository? Once you create it, GitHub will show you the repository URL, and then we'll just have to give that to him. So let's just do that. So I'm going into GitHub, I'm creating a new repository. We call it resume template, and let's create repository, and let's just get this URL and let's give it the cursor. And now it says, excellent, your resume project has been successfully pushed to GitHub. Here's what I did. So added the remote repository. So it's now live. So if I refresh this, you can see that we have all our different files here. And now what we can do is we can go into Netlify and connect our GitHub project, our repository, to Netlify and actually start getting a custom domain. So inside of Netlify, we want to log in with GitHub, and then we want to add a new project, import an existing project. We're going to import from GitHub. It's going to ask us to log in. We are already logged in. So let's just choose our resume template, which is this one. And we can go ahead and leave this empty and deploy resume template. And the project deploy is in progress right now. We can't really see anything. We just have to wait until this is green. And then we're going to basically get a URL that we can kind of check on. And it's like a preview URL, right? And then eventually, once we're ready, we can go over here to domain management, add a domain you already own. And I would definitely recommend going into something like GoDaddy or Namecheap and looking for a domain there. And once you do that, you just have to add your domain and verify. They're going to give you some records, and you have to replace those records inside the DNS settings inside of GoDaddy or Namecheap. So yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed this video today. You know, this was a simple one-page resume type of project, very simple to kind of build, but it gives you a quick glimpse on how to actually build something or design something with AI tools. Anyways, let me know if you have any comments or questions down in the comments below. And again, feel free to join my Discord community if you want to, get in touch with me, or if you want to talk to the rest of my Discord community, which includes different startup founders, different developers, designers. We basically get together every single weekday to kind of do live streams and talk to each other. So anyways, hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.